How we doing today, folks? It's me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots channel. I got two clips for you. They're about 4 or 5 minutes apiece. It's good information. It just kind of, for anybody that's not following this story, this is a catch-up as to where we're at in the investigation, at least most of the information. Like I said, two different clips, one with Matt Gaetz. If you wait for it, watch it to the end. It's very informative. I've been trying to keep up with the stuff as best I can. It's actually a little convoluted. The way they're trying to handle this thing, they're trying to spin the story on Hunter. But check out these two videos. I thought it was good information. Also wanted to let you know the Clay Clark episode with me and William Archibald on the Fox and Archibald show on This Way Network is on Rumble right now. I put a link to the I put a link down below in the description to it, and the promo of it, which has got the Rumble link in it as well. I'll put them both in the bottom. I'm also going to put two other links in the bottom. And there's so much going on in Wisconsin, and right now, and there's some videos out, some trailers out, some movies coming out. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The 2000 Donkeys movies, and the other one that rhymes with gigged. And there's another one out as well. And there's an article over on, a really big, full, extensive article over on the Gateway Pundit. And I'm going to leave you a link to the article, because I could word salad it up as to what they're talking about, but it is such a, best way to do it is just let y'all read it for yourself. There's a lot going on in Wisconsin. It's still up in the air as to what's going to happen, but it seems like the pot is getting stirred a little more and more every day, and I'm glad to see it. Like I said, go check that out, and I'm going to leave you one more link. That'll be a mystery link. That'll be something else that I thought y'all should hear as well. Now let me go ahead and get into these videos. Definitely check out the link for the Clay Clark. It was a great interview with Clay Clark. It was just an honor to get to meet the man. He's full of energy. I've seen him when I went to Reawakening Tour in Dallas months ago, and I thought it was really pretty cool to get to meet him, or at least get an interview with him through the This Way Network and on our channel. But at any rate, go check that out. If you don't know who Clay Clark is, go listen to it. It is a Rumble link, because he talks about all kinds of things, trans this and trans that, and whew, he got some stories to tell. He is definitely on top of what's really going on with old Klaus Q-Tip, if you know who I'm talking about, and George Sorry Ass. Well, he's got a lot to say about both of those folks. So definitely go check out that Rumble link down below, and those other two links as well. If you want to know what's going on in our selection process, it is a good long article over on the Gateway about it. I can word salad it up for you, but best answer is y'all go check it out yourself, because there are some videos as well. All right, folks. Now check out these two clips.
And maybe the worst of it all was what 51 former intelligence officials did. That letter they wrote where they said this has all the earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign, that letter became the basis for big tech and big media to suppress this story and keep it from we the people in the run-up to our most important election. That's why we sent a letter to these 51 guys. We want to know who they were talking to, how they came to this conclusion, how they put that letter together, because that was the basis for the conspiracy that kept information from the voters right up before the presidential election.
Yeah, we're showing your letter on screen right now, and we also have the New York Post headline, Spies Who Lie, with the faces of all of those. Right front and center is John Brennan and James Clapper on the cover of the New York Post there, who lied and said that it was Russian disinformation. Let's just be clear, Jim Jordan, these guys were key officials in the CIA and the other intelligence agencies. They would have known that this was not Russian disinformation when they signed their name, correct?
But Maria, this is it's a great point. This is what makes this so wrong and so bad. This is no different than when Adam Schiff 3 years ago came forward and said, "Oh, there is more than circumstantial evidence that President Trump colluded with Russia." We didn't think that statement was accurate at the time, but when the chairman of the Intelligence Committee goes on TV and makes that statement, he gets briefings that the American people don't get. Frankly, he gets briefings that even I, as a member of Congress, don't get. So when he says something like that, there is added weight, added emphasis put on that. Same thing with these 51 former intelligence officials. When they come out with a statement like this, you're thinking, wow, these are guys who were supposed to be in the know. They were in the know when they were in the government. And so there's added weight to that. But when they mislead us, that makes it all the more wrong. And that's why we got to get to the bottom of this, because it's happened more than once now. And this is not supposed to be that way in our great country.
The laptop is Russian disinformation, despite all the evidence otherwise. Well, House Judiciary Republicans say those ex-spies need to hand over their proof that it was Russian disinformation. They're going to be waiting a long time, I have a feeling. Or what will happen? They can expect subpoenas next year when Republicans take over. Republican Congressman from Florida is with us. Matt Gaetz is a member of the House Judiciary Committee, and he joins me now. Congressman, great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Grant. And in addition to that demand for oversight and transparency regarding those 51 officials, I've also filed legislation to strip all of them of their security clearances and bar them from future security clearances, given the fact that they used the imprimatur of our government and those clearances that they hold for credibility. And then they violated that credibility by telling lies about this laptop. It's very clear that if you did not have a conspiracy between government officials, big tech, and big media to suppress this information, Joe Biden would not have been sworn in to the White House. And that is the depth and breadth of this scandal. And I think we've got to get to the bottom of how that happened, because you want to talk about threats to democracy. You want to talk about disinformation. It's the power that some of these folks have to work together to keep information away from the voters, from the American people.
Congressman, I'll tell you, I've spent 30 years in media, much of it as an investigative reporter. And I could tell you from the moment I saw the evidence coming out of that laptop that it was real. And all the evidence was that it was real. Now that's been confirmed. I know for a fact those spies knew it was real. At least that's my assessment of things, which then means if that's true, they would have lied, Congressman.
Undeniably. And if that's the case, they shouldn't be able to parade around like they're holding some intense credibility from the United States government. The other thing that you've pointed to is that the Hunter Biden laptop very well may have been a point of vulnerability for the White House, for the Biden administration. It could have been the subject of blackmail efforts or compromise endeavors, which regularly occur in Washington, D.C. I was deeply troubled when I asked the FBI cyber chief where the laptop was, that he couldn't seem to tell us, and that may be indicative of a cover-up that is in progress right now. It's not as if the cover-up is over. They're continuing it, and Ann Applebaum signaled the change of the narrative. You see, now it's not that this is disinformation or a false representation of the evidence. It's that we all shouldn't really care that the son of the then vice president, now president, was actually selling influence for personal gain, for millions of dollars to some of America's greatest adversaries. I think that matters. I mean, if that was a member of the Trump family doing international business deals with the Chinese Communist Party, that would have been grounds for yet another impeachment effort. But here with the Bidens, it's the grounds for yet another cover-up.
Yeah, they wanted Ivana locked up for copyright issues in China. And so imagine if it was Don Jr. for something like Hunter is accused of. Let me play a clip from you. This is Jack Maxey. It's unfortunate that we have to have civilians doing the work that the Justice Department should do. This is the guy that handed over the laptop to the FBI. He's downloaded and given it to congressmen and women. He's given it to media outlets. He's also doing a forensic deep dive. He says he's got 450 gigabytes of erased material on that laptop. He fled to Sweden, fearing for his safety and retaliation for the Biden administration. He appeared on Newsmax today. Watch this.
I feared that my efforts would be interfered with in the United States. I also had experts here that I could rely on that I've worked with in the past. If you don't release enough of this to make them know that you could release the whole thing, which I have at my ability to the present day, and I've not done it, he said, they're going to get you. They're going to kill you. It's a crying shame that I have to leave my own soil to save it. But the American people have been betrayed, and without pointing any fingers, the Fourth Estate dropped their ball on this one.
All right, Congressman Gates, he's in Switzerland. He says he's very close to getting all this data back. He's going to release it on an online database. I'll give you the last word on this and him and his claims that he's in danger.
Well, I think about Project Veritas and the FBI raid of James O'Keefe's home when they believed that he might have had Ashley Biden's diary. And in that case, James O'Keefe wasn't even publishing the Ashley Biden diary stories, which would have been very damning to Joe Biden and sort of his bizarre relationship there. But O'Keefe could not verify it, so he did not publish it. And even in that case, you saw an FBI raid, and I think a real troubling violation of the First Amendment. So in Jack Maxey's case, it's entirely reasonable to believe, if he has the intent of publishing this additional information, that he, in fact, could be in some danger. I hope that we get full transparency on this, that we get the full scope of the Biden crime family's activities. And that may explain why the Biden administration takes certain positions that seem to be for the benefit of China, not the United States.
The Hunter Biden laptop scandal back in 2020. She literally wrote the book on it and continues to report on it. One of the things that you've been reporting on, Miranda, is that the White House continues to insist that Joe Biden had no knowledge or involvement in Hunter Biden's business dealings. Yet you and some of your colleagues pointed out 12 particular occasions when it appears he did.
Well, that's right. I think it's really not a sustainable line for the White House to continue to bat away questions about Joe Biden's involvement in his son Hunter's business dealings by saying continuing on with the line that Joe Biden told the American people before the election, which is he knew nothing, because even Hunter has admitted talking to his father, about his Ukrainian business dealings, and there's just overwhelming evidence. I mean, those 12 bits of evidence that we published today is just the tip of the iceberg. There's evidence of commingled finances, shared bank accounts, and Joe Biden met with multiple of Hunter Biden's overseas business partners. He met them in Beijing. He met them in Washington, D.C.
There's also evidence of a shared office in the Swedish embassy building on the Georgetown waterfront. Our Peter Doocy questioned Jen Psaki about it yesterday. Let's listen to the exchange.
So there's evidence that the president at one point was office mates with Hunter and his brother Jim here in D.C.
It's not accurate.
That is not accurate.
They were not office mates, no.
They were not office mates. Okay.
Great.
Jen Psaki says they were not office mates. What say you?
Technically, she's correct because the CEFC deal with that Chinese energy company fell through because Hunter's business partners got arrested and disappeared and so on. But Hunter had made the nameplates for that office for his father and himself and a Chinese guy, and they were going to be, in his words, office mates. He'd also cut keys for his father and his mother for that office. So, Jen Psaki is just being coy and, I guess, answering to the letter of the law, but she knows that there's more to it, and it's probably why she wants to leave the White House press office ASAP.
What's interesting, too, is that since the Washington Post and the New York Times have joined your reporting, 18 months behind the curve, to say, yes, this indeed looks to be real, many members of the mainstream media continue to play it as a non-story. Listen here.
This looks like your classic disinformation campaign.
There is zero evidence that Vice President Biden or President Biden has done anything wrong.
It's amplified completely out of the realm of what's real. So it's not that we didn't ask the questions. We didn't just go crazy blaring them as the lead story.
I think everybody, when they voted for Joe Biden, knew Hunter Biden was a problem.
My problem with Hunter Biden's laptop is I think it's totally irrelevant. I don't find it to be interesting. I mean, that would be my problem with that as a major news story.
It's totally irrelevant. I don't find it to be interesting. I think there are a lot of people in this country who do find it very interesting.
Well, and also relevant to America's national security, because we're talking about millions of dollars that came through to Biden family coffers and their business associates from China, Russia, Ukraine, to name a few. And those countries obviously have a big impact on current geopolitical issues and, you know, whether or not America gets involved in World War III. So we need to have the president be upfront about whether or not he is compromised in the eyes of these countries, because you know that President Xi and Vladimir Putin know everything about what Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, and Joe Biden were up to with this influence peddling scheme. I mean, there's no denying that that was what it was. Joe Biden had been plying this in Delaware for 4 decades, and he internationalized it when he became vice president.
So let's look ahead, because you have Republicans now, as you're reporting, saying that they want to hear from these 51 former intelligence agency officials who said, oh, this all looks like Russian disinformation. They want to know what information were they basing that opinion on, and if Republicans, as expected, gain control of Congress, a blizzard of subpoenas might go out early next year, and this could become the subject of congressional hearings.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting if anything can be done about those people. They had a get out of jail free clause in that letter saying, well, you know, we haven't looked at the laptop, but this is our expert opinion based on, you know, all our great experience. And, you know, Rick Grinnell, the former NSA guy under Trump, was on Twitter having a fight with one of these former intelligence officials that signed that letter. And the guy said to him, I don't care. If I was part of the push to make sure that Donald Trump did not win office, I'm proud of that. I think that's their attitude.
All right, we got